In this module, we're going to study about improvements in food resources. On November 15, 2022, the Earth's estimated population reached 8 billion, which is about 800 crores. The question arises, how do we actually feed so many people? If we look at India's population in 1947, our population was around 36 crores, and in 2022, we have reached about 140 crores, which is approximately four times the population. So, how have we managed to cope with such massive population growth? Before the 1960s, agriculture was carried out in traditional ways. In the 1960s, the world over, people started using more modern industrial techniques, which involved the use of mechanized farm tools like tractors and tillers, the use of irrigation, the use of pesticides and fertilizers, and all this led to a great increase in the production, in agricultural production. The world population has grown more than 5 billion since the beginning of the Green Revolution, and many believe that without the revolution, there would have been greater famine and malnutrition. India saw annual wheat production rise from 10 million tons in the 1960s to 73 million tons in 2006. So at present, there is massive production of food on an industrial scale through agriculture and large-scale animal husbandry. Despite the growth in food production, there still is a need for improvement in food resources. And the question that arises is, why is there this need? Quite simply put, agriculture has many complex challenges. It is not as simple as one might think. Here are some of those challenges. There's the matter of the availability of land, availability of water, the matter of weeds and pests invading. We'll deal with these in some detail. Then there's the matter of storage and distribution of food resources. Once we have produced the food, we still need an entire setup to store and distribute this food in a manner such that it does not go bad and does not cost us so much that it becomes unviable. We also have the issue of providing farmers with adequate finance where the cost of farming is high. Very often, farming requires high inputs, especially at the stage of setup. How do we get money? How can farmers who are comparatively less wealthy, how do they access money to do this? There is also the final question of sustainability as to how long can we continue farming and animal husbandry at this massive industrial scale. Let's look at the issue of land availability. So arable land or cultivable land is a limited resource. In fact, most of the land that can be used for cultivation of crops is already under cultivation. It is not like there is land that we can now convert into agricultural land. So this is one of the constraints which requires us to look at the business of improving crop resources. There's also the issue of water. Fresh water is a limited resource, and agriculture is a major polluter of water. So these are two things we have to look at when we talk about the improvement of crop production. These are two things that we also have to consider. There's the matter of pest invasion. So when we grow crops, we produce a large quantity of food for ourselves. Unfortunately, that is also food for a large number of other organisms that live there. And these can take on very scary proportions, as in the case of the locusts shown in this picture. So pest invasion and the management of pests is also another large consideration when we talk about improvement in crops. Weed invasion. Around campus, you might have seen lantana or fulakdi plants growing. So along with providing ideal conditions for crops to grow in, we are also creating ideal conditions for other plants to grow in. And some of these plants become weeds which are hard to control. For example, lantana, which has now become a weed, an invasive weed throughout much of the world, including India. When we think of improving crop production, we also have to think of factors like pollution. There's the matter of burning of crop stubble around Delhi, which has gained news attention in the last few years. So, farmers, after they harvest their paddy crops in the months of November and December, they burn the stubble or the remaining grass, and this causes large scale air pollution in the northern plains, and this has become a matter of concern for many. Here are some photographs of cities in northern India. There's also industrial animal husbandry. It causes various forms of pollution and also raises serious animal welfare concerns about how ethically we treat these animals before we slaughter them or while we use them to produce milk and eggs. Let's look at pollution from animal husbandry. So, cattle rearing generates more global warming greenhouse gases than vehicular pollution. This would surprise most of you, but I would recommend that you go online and actually find out how this happens. But this is in fact true. The disposal of waste from cattle farms and slaughterhouses. Slaughterhouses are the places where animals are killed. This causes water pollution. Animals require high protein diets, and in order to grow the food for them, a lot of forests are cleared and turned into farmland, causing immense damage to the environment. This is most notable in Brazil, where large parts of the rainforests have been cleared in the last decade to grow soybean and corn. And the meat industry accounts for nearly 60% of all greenhouse gases from food production. Therefore, there is a need for improvement in the production of food resources, not only to increase crop yield, but also for environmental reasons and sustainability. How long can we keep up this industrial scale of production before it catches up with us?